Okay, let's dive into this. We're looking at a 27-year-old mystery today that affects almost every single person who has ever bought or honestly even ridden in a car. I'm talking about the great mystery of fake car mileage. Look, for decades we've all been promised one thing on a shiny, glossy brochure, right? Only to experience something entirely different once we actually get the car on the road. Well, today we're completely unmasking that illusion in this explainer. We're going to break down the exact mechanics of how this magic trick is pulled off, the upcoming laws that are about to change everything, and the massive corporate drama unfolding right now behind the scenes. So grab your focus, because what we're about to uncover is going to completely change how you look at the automotive industry.
Imagine this scenario. You walk into a dealership and the salesperson proudly tells you, yep, this car gets 25 kilometers per liter. But then you actually drive it to work every day and you receive much, much less. We all know this frustration, right? It's practically a universal truth of owning a vehicle. But here is the real puzzle. If they promised you 25 and you didn't get 25, why can't you just take them to consumer court? I mean, have you ever read a news story about an ordinary person suing a massive car company over fake mileage and actually winning millions in fines? No way, you haven't. And the reason why is absolutely fascinating. Automakers are completely legally shielded from these lawsuits. But how? Well, let's take a look at our roadmap for uncovering this.
Here is the roadmap for our investigation today. We'll start with the mileage illusion revealed, move on to the flawed MIDC treadmill, introduce the new WLTP system, break down the 4 driving phases, look at the automaker panic surrounding Toyota, and finally, explore the great hybrid debate.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the mileage illusion revealed.
So, the crucial point here is that automakers aren't technically breaking the law when they tell you a car gets 25 kilometers per liter. They aren't committing a crime at all. Instead, they're just exploiting a legally sanctioned illusion using this exact system, the MIDC, or the Modified Indian Driving Cycle. This is the government-mandated vehicle testing system that has been heavily utilized in India since the 1990s. I mean, think about that for a second. The 1990s. Automotive tech has evolved light years since then, but the official system we use to calculate a car's efficiency, totally stuck in the past. But because companies are legally required to use this specific system, whatever number the MIDC spits out is the legally accurate number, even if it makes absolutely zero sense in the real world. This antiquated system is the exact reason why, if you look really closely at any car ad, you'll always spot that tiny little asterisk pointing to the words "conditions apply." But what exactly are those conditions?
That brings us perfectly to Section 2, the flawed MIDC treadmill.
To really understand what conditions apply means, we have to pull back the curtain and look at how this MIDC testing trick is actually pulled off. And honestly, it is absurd. Just think about it. In the real world, you're constantly dodging potholes, right? You have to give way to other vehicles, you're constantly overtaking, and most importantly, you might just be stuck at a traffic light in a total jam for 2 to 4 minutes just idling. You're constantly accelerating and decelerating. But in the MIDC lab, they don't even take the car out on the road. Instead, they mount the vehicle onto a machine that is literally just like a giant gym treadmill. And here is the absolute kicker. They start the car with the air conditioning completely turned off. Then they just run the car at a single constant speed. No bumps, no traffic, no stopping, and no AC. That right there is the highly controlled environment producing those magical 25 kilometer per liter claims. It completely and utterly ignores real-world driving.
Which leads us to Section 3. Enter the WLTP system.
Naturally, you can't just run a treadmill test forever and pass it off as reality. The government has finally become stricter and a massive change is on the horizon. Enter WLTP, which stands for the Worldwide Harmonized Light Vehicle Test Procedure. This is a thoroughly modern testing standard, and it entirely focuses on simulating actual, real road conditions. Now, it's worth pointing out that India is adopting this standard quite late compared to the rest of the world, but the really big news here is that the government has made this new standard mandatory by the year 2027. This officially forces cars off that stationary gym treadmill and finally puts them out onto actual roads to see how they truly perform.
Let's look at how they do that in Section 4, the 4 driving phases.
You see, the WLTP doesn't just say, hey, go drive around and let's see what happens. No, it's a highly precise, strict scientific simulation of an everyday commute. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how they do it. To capture a truly accurate number, the test is broken down into 4 distinct phases. First up, the car undergoes the low phase. This mimics your daily city traffic, stopping, going, waiting at endless red lights. The absolute maximum speed allowed here is 56 kilometers per hour. Next, they take the car to the medium phase. This mimics suburban areas' ring roads, where traffic is a bit lighter.
pushing the speed up to 76 kilometers per hour. Then comes the high phase. This is your standard national highway driving, open roads where the car reaches up to 97 kilometers per hour. And finally, the extra high phase. This simulates high-speed motorway or expressway driving, pushing the vehicle up to 130 kilometers per hour. By testing across all four of these very distinct environments, they are finally capturing the entire spectrum of how a normal person actually drives.
But the system goes even further than just speed and traffic. The WLTP actively tests the exact things that the old MIDC Treadmill totally ignored. I mean, they actually test the real impact of running the air conditioning now. They factor in the aerodynamic drag if your specific car model happens to have a sunroof. They even measure the highly specific changes in mileage that happen if you swap out your standard wheels for heavier alloy wheels. The WLTP takes all of these everyday variables across all four driving phases and mathematically averages them out to find the true, undeniable mileage of your vehicle.
Moving right along to Section 5, Automaker Panic and Toyota.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer panic it represents. You might be thinking, great, better testing means better info for us, and you'd be absolutely right. But for the massive corporations building these cars, this new standard is nothing short of a nightmare. This shift from the lab to the real world has sparked a huge fallout behind closed doors. Because look at this brutal math. If a car was comfortably testing at 20 under the old Treadmill system, testing that exact same car under the strict new WLTP system causes its official mileage to plummet down to just 16. It completely exposes the real consumer experience. That glossy brochure is going to look a whole lot less impressive when they're forced to print the number 16 instead of 20. And with the 2027 deadline looming, companies are staring down the barrel of displaying these starkly lower numbers to the public, which for sure is going to impact their sales.
So what's the industry reaction? Honestly, it's panic. Major legacy brands, we're talking Suzuki, Mahindra, Honda, Hyundai, they are deeply concerned. Because their realistic mileage is about to be exposed, they're actively lobbying the government. Their main demand? They are pushing incredibly hard to delay that 2027 implementation date. They are just desperate to keep the old MIDC Treadmill system active for as long as humanly possible to protect those inflated marketing numbers. The whole industry is basically standing together trying to push these strict new rules far into the future. Well, that is, until one company decided to completely break ranks.
Let's move to the timeline and see how this builds, because it's fascinating. Since the 1990s, the old system effectively let consumers be misled for basically 27 years. The automakers were all hoping to just delay the 2027 law. But then, on May 13, 2026, Toyota caused an absolute uproar. They broke ranks. They didn't wait for 2027. They went straight to the Automotive Research Association of India, the ARI, in Pune and secured the very first WLTP certified mileage certificate for one of their vehicles in India. So now, Toyota is proudly holding up a certificate that proves their true mileage, which essentially forces the hands of every other automaker. The big question now is, when will the others follow suit, and honestly, how low will their true numbers be when they finally do?
And finally, Section 6, the Great Hybrid Debate.
You see, Toyota's disruptive move didn't just expose the mileage illusion, it also ignited a massive, entirely separate policy debate, because the specific type of vehicle Toyota got certified has put the government and the industry at a major crossroads when it comes to taxes. The vehicle Toyota got certified wasn't a standard petrol car, it was a hybrid vehicle. Just for a quick refresher, a hybrid runs on a combination of electric power and traditional petrol or diesel. By using both, hybrids significantly reduce carbon emissions compared to standard combustion engines. Because a hybrid has just officially proven its true certified efficiency under the strictest real-world testing, a huge debate has erupted.
And this brings us to the final, really critical question of this explainer. Right now, fully electric vehicles receive massive tax subsidies and financial incentives because they lower carbon emissions. But as this new WLTP data clearly proves, hybrids also lower emissions and reduce carbon footprints in the real world. So the debate raging right now is, should hybrid vehicles receive the exact same tax subsidies and exemptions as fully electric vehicles? Now that the 27-year-old treadmill illusion is finally shattered and true numbers are out in the open, how should we reward companies that are actually efficient on real roads? It's a hugely complex crossroads for policymakers. The old era of the 1990s MIDC treadmill is officially dead, and the new era of transparent, real-world driving data is here. So, what do you think? Who's going to come out on top? Keep learning, stay focused, and I will see you in the next explainer.